Everyone, I'm Allie. Join me in making this fun, really versatile multi-strand 2-hole bead bracelet. You can do this with a variety of materials. Grab up those little half tubes, all the little ends, and join me in making this fun bracelet. So I have a variety of materials here that I've laid out on my bead mat, and I'm not exactly sure what materials I'm going to be making. Again, a great idea is to use up a bunch of your half tubes and half collections and minimal seed beads and kind of make a go at this. The one thing you are definitely going to want to start with is a clasp and some wire guards if you're using those. I'm going to be separating these and sitting them independent, so I wanted to make sure that I had a multi-strand clasp. This one here is a Claspgarten clasp, and it's in that gold-plated gravity design, it's called, and it is 18.5 millimeters. It has 3 loops on it, so I know I'm going to be doing 3 strands of my bead weaving. Again, very simple. We're just running up and back with 2 needles, and so you can do it with 1 needle going up and then back. I'm just literally running one way through and then tying off and then coming back and starting another strand. So have your wire guards, about 6 of them, ready to go, along with your clasp, and then a collection of beads. I'm going with the metallic tones. I have here some DiscDuos, some 11O seed beads, RounDuo minis, IrisDuos, 3 millimeter Potomac crystal rounds, 1.5 millimeter cubes, and 11O seed beads. And these are all in a variety of kind of that metal tone. So the first thing that you're gonna do is lay out some of the beads that you want to use. And I picked some RounDuo minis, some of my crystals, some of my 1.8 millimeter cubes, since Kimberly's the kind of inspiration. She loves to use the little cubes for a little bit extra glisten. And then some of my 11O seed beads as I push them all over my mat. The first thing you're gonna do is separate your clasps. So if you have an actual push clasp like this, that it is 2 holes separated out, we're gonna be working with 1 at a time. I'm gonna take my needle and thread, and I have 2 needles on my thread. I'm working with 0.006 wildfire beading thread. With this design, you could also work with 0.008, and I have it on in a white color because I don't wanna see it through any of my beads. I'm going to let it fall down this wire guard a little bit on the needle and then sew through the other way. If you're unfamiliar with wire guards or wire protectors, they're basically a little horseshoe shape, and it allows the thread to sit in a track as you're working with it. I'm going to make sure that my needles are even on each end here, making sure that I have the same amount of thread on both sides. You can see the piece of thread is really short. I'm only working with about 36 inches. From here, you're going to drop on 1 portion of your clasp. I'm actually going to go with the middle first. I'm going to build the thinner row in the middle, and then I'll build thicker rows on the outer edge. And you're going to let the clasp fall right into that actual wire guard section. Coming out of the wire guard, then it's time to get started on whatever pattern you want. So the key to this is that you can do anything because it is based on 2-hole beads and 2 needles. So I'm going to pick up my RounDuo mini and just start a random pattern. At my RounDuo mini, 1 needle is going to go through one side of the hole, 1 needle through the other side. You want to make sure as you come down then that that wire guard or that wire protector, that the thread's still sitting in there. From here, having my needles out, I am going to string, let's see, an 11O on each needle. Actually, let's do 2 11Os on each needle. Then I'll string on a cube on each needle. Then I'll follow it with 1 more 11O on each needle. Let it drop down next to the RounDuo mini. Grab in one of your crystals here, and we're going to take the needles through in 2 steps. Both needles going through that crystal in the same direction. And there I have just kind of a nice simple start, getting that RounDuo mini in there with that pattern. So I'm gonna mirror that pattern, and then I'm gonna go a little bit bigger and a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna take out some of my IrisDuos as well. And these are in the jet bronze color. And the next bead that I add in the same fashion is gonna be alternating with my IrisDuo. So I'm gonna do the same thing, do an 11O, separating out the needles then. 11O on both the right and left needle. 1.8 millimeter cube, that silver lined crystal. 2 11s on both left and right. And then I'm gonna grab my IrisDuo. The only thing you need to make sure of now with this project is, because I'm using IrisDuos, they are 2-sided. Every time I put on an IrisDuo from now on, I wanna make sure that it's facing up the same direction. and go in there. So again, it's kind of separates it out a little bit more. I'm going to repeat the pattern then, adding in a RounDuo, and go the whole length of the design. Separating out the needles now, 2 11s, 1 cube, 1 11, and then into the crystal on both sides. Continuing on the whole way to the other side, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to end the other end of the clasp. Once you have one strand done, it's time to attach the other side. So I've gone in and I've continued, again, really, really simple, just going in and out with my IrisDuos and kind of working with them on a flat scale, and then going to the RounDuo minis and through the crystals. I'm just going to push it all down as far as I can. And if you want to, you can come back and run the thread back through and actually kind of make it a little bit more secure. That's how you're going to reinforce your thread ends as well. And what I'm going to do to start out is pick one of my needles and one of my wire guards. I'm going to put the needle through the wire guard, up through the one towards the top of that, or the bottom of that U, down through the other side. And again, this is just with one of the needles right now. Pull that down towards the project, and then taking that same needle, I'm going to take it through the center, because remember I'm doing the center first, through the center portion of that clasp. And that's wire guard's just going to sit right in there. To hold this stationary, I'm going to take my needle and thread and go down through the RounDuo that's on the other side and give a nice tight pull. You want to make sure that your thread is inside that wire guard and it's not popping out. Thread on the other side, then you're going to do the opposite, which is going to reinforce this, getting 2 threads through. And then as you weave down through the entire project, you'll be able to tie off the thread ends right on the other side. So up here, I'm going to go through the wire guard, through the clasp, making sure that that thread kind of sits along inside that channel or that groove of the wire guard, down through the wire guard, and down through the other side of that last RounDuo mini and out. Now again, I'm not going to bore you and make you watch, but what you're going to do is take that thread and needle and go back through the entire row that you just did, going back to reinforce. Take the right needle then, go through the wire guard, through the clasp, back down through the wire guard on the other side, and then tie off the 2 thread ends right there on that ending. What I'm going to do now is go in and I'll take those down, tie that off, and then I'm going to create my second strand of beads that are going to go on the right hand side of this design. So to show here is the second strand that I've done, just doing DiscDuos and the IrisDuos as a switch up. And the more I do this, the more I think I might actually add another strand in and hang out with the same wire guard. I'm going to do my third strand here, making sure when you add your continuous strands, kind of to put your clasp back together to make sure that by accident you're not kind of attaching to alternate quarters, that you're making sure that you're moving down and attaching to the middle. If you want to attach to alternate ways, you're going to have a little bit more of a twisted look. You also want to make sure that your thread ends are the same and that you have the same distance on the actual strand portion. If you want to, it's also fun that you could actually string these somewhat ahead of time, at least one way, line them up and lay them next to another. But a strand like this or a clasp like this, you want to notice that the center loop actually sticks out a little bit further because of where it is positioning on the clasp. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my third strand, which I think is going to kind of feature a little bit more of those RounDuo minis, along maybe with some more DiscDuos and maybe alternating all 3 shapes. So I wanted to show what it looks like prior to kind of tying those off. You can see the fun clasp on, and then the variety of the different strands of going 2 and then going combined in 1 and going 2. In the end here, I used the IrisDuo, the RounDuo, and the DiscDuo and kind of kept it separate and then came together and kept it separate. So you can see the fun that is created in just this simple version. It makes it look a lot more complicated and a lot more in detail than it actually is. And you can use, again, I want to stress, any type of bead for this. You can also check out the product spotlight for this and all the different designs that Kimry did for some ideas and more inspiration. Again, just bringing those 2 strands down, lining up the beads, bringing it back, tying a knot. Simple as that. You can do as many strands as you want. You can also, if you want to, add a whole nother strand to this, and I could make this a 6-strand bracelet. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. And remember, when you're playing around with your multi-strand 2-hold bracelet wrap, you can go in and make it long and wrap it around your wrist twice. You can keep it short. You can do the same exact pattern on all 3 strands or 4 strands or however many you do, but really have fun kind of changing up the pattern, using up maybe some beads or getting some more. If you need any more beads, you can look below me in the links that we provide in the description box to shop with us online at PotomacBeads.com as well as PotomacBeads.eu. Remember, you can also subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit that little bell in the corner and subscribe so you get regular updates and get regular notifications when we do have new videos for you, new better beater videos, as well as new spotlights and new ideas. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy making your own multi-strand 2-hold bracelet.